Young Turks now has audio, the TYT Audio Network, podcasts of some of your favorite shows and new shows, including one with Nina Turner, former Ohio State Senator. She's going to do We the People with Nina Turner, talking about equality and justice and seeing that through the eyes of regular Americans who are affected by politics and policy. Everybody check it out at tyt.com/audio.
Celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain has died at the age of 61 from an apparent suicide. He was discovered in his hotel room in France, and he was actually in France to tape an episode of his hit CNN show, Parts Unknown. Now, Eric Ripert, a celebrity chef who was also a good friend of his, appeared with Bourdain on several of his shows and found him unresponsive. Gladys Bourdain, who was a longtime editor of the New York Times, said she had no indication that her son might have been thinking of suicide. She said, "He is absolutely the last person in the world I would have ever dreamed would do something like this." And that was the reaction of a lot of people, although those who were extremely close to him said that it did seem as though things were a little off. And you know, before we get into more details about this story, I just really want to emphasize for anyone who's watching, anyone who might be struggling with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, please, please, please get help. Please get help. You're not alone. A lot of people all over the world are suffering from this as well. And there is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If you want to call and get help, it's 1-800-273-8255. Again, the number is 1-800-273-8255. So this has been a really hard story for me, and I've never responded or reacted this way to the passing of a celebrity, but Anthony Bourdain had a huge impact on my life, and I'm now learning on the lives of a lot of other people, and it's just a devastating story, and yeah.
Very responsible for, it's weird to say like he changed food television, but it's not like food television. He changed a lot of the role that food plays in a lot of people's lives now can trace directly back to his effect on it. From, you know, it used to be, I mean, I work in television, so it's like I used to be cooking shows were just people like Emeril Lagasse yelling "bam" and throwing spice on things. But I can't even look at, and he changed it. He added a voice, a personal relationship with not just the food, but the chefs, the people behind it, and culture. Part of culture is food, right? But he brought other parts of culture into the discussion of food and brought food into the other parts of the discussion of culture. And I know, and we do the Happy Half Hours, a new show that was on today, and there's one segment in particular where I'm doing an impression. Like that sucks. Like I'm doing an impression of like how he talks about food. I'm talking about drinks, and it's weird, but it's just really intense, and it's so unexpected.
It is.
It's a guy walking around like making, talking about sea urchin.
But then that's how suicide plays out. It's never really anything that anyone expects. And for me, it was so shocking because we're in 1 week we've had 2 deaths amongst in white communities with privilege, with access, with healthcare. And now I just want to think about the fact that what's happening in our marginalized communities and what is being unseen. And I know, being from a South Asian community and talking on behalf of the Black and brown community as a whole, we have a lot of stigma around mental health.
Yes.
And we don't get the help we need because we're always told to sort of be more positive, back up, you can get through it, push through. But really, it's such a huge health issue. But accessibility is one of the biggest things in the Black and brown community. How are we going to help them push through? Because these were people with privilege.
Yeah,
they had everything. And yet, they had to go in this way.
So 2 things that I want to mention that I think need to be discussed, and it needs to be a little more widespread. First of all, everyone keeps talking about, oh my God, this is so unexpected. And same with Kate Spade, her life seems so perfect. Anthony Bourdain, his life seems so perfect. He had it all. How could this happen? I really want to emphasize that people's public lives and what you see on social media is not representative of what is really happening in their lives. It's just not. I remember in 2016, just going back to what you said about stigma, 2016 was a very difficult time for me personally, and it was the first time I dealt with depression and severe anxiety. And I opened up about it on the show. And I did not expect people to respond to me with gratitude because of the stigma. I get attacked all the time, so I kind of share things about myself without caring what other people are gonna think, without worrying about stigma. That is my privilege, you know, not having that worry. But I had no idea that people felt like they couldn't talk about their mental health issues, that they couldn't open up and seek the help that they need because they were worried they would be stigmatized. Yeah. Please don't worry about that stigma. We need to have open conversations about depression. A lot of people suffer from it, and it doesn't matter how successful someone is or how perfect someone's life appears to be. People have real struggles behind the scenes.
Or how funny people are. So I suffer from depression, and I suffer from clinical depression, not, you know, my mom has a clinical depression, and when I talk about it, to me, it was a really sad story to read. It's specifically about, because of the times that we're in. There's so many people who have the spotlight that are using it to divide us. And when we lose someone who actually uses their platform to unite us and to highlight our differences as positives, it really does feel like a loss because, you know, all the headlines are always like Democrats and Republicans, and it's become so fashionable from everybody to just say, I belong to this group, that group is wrong. Just to have people like this who are allies to people from our Black and brown communities that go highlight, you know, our culture and say, this is great, food brings us together, so I'm a little bit shook by it. I've been having my own bout of depression, and I'll tell you, as a stand-up comedian, people don't ever think that we are depressed, and we are some of the most depressed people on the planet, which is why we choose to make people laugh, because that makes us feel better. But, you know, money, fame, like his mom talked about him, and she said he had so much money and he was so successful. Those don't fill the void that you feel when you have mental illness and the stigma it is. I remember telling my mom that I felt depressed, and she would say, "You're not crazy. Don't say that. You're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. Like, snap out of it. It's chemical, and it's not something that I can snap out of, and it's something that sometimes makes me not want to get out of bed. And just, I've been on this show and been depressed, and people are like looking and saying, what's wrong with Ida? Why is her hair not combed? It's because I had to struggle to get out of bed, and just being here with you guys will keep me going just another moment. So I will say to you, Black and brown young people, and I'm speaking to everyone, but specifically those of us who come from those communities where people tell you that it's something you can just get over, that you can just snap out of, and you're dealing with issues, go outside of your village if you need to, and go find the help that you need, because there are a lot of measures out there to help you, and it doesn't always have to be medication, you know?
Right, yeah. That was one of the reasons why I got a dog, and he really helped me, but it's different. I mean, I love that you mentioned clinical depression. There are different types of depression. For some people, it is a chemical, physical problem, you know, and it needs to be addressed. And so it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means that again, we need to have open, honest conversations about it. If you are a public figure who is suffering from depression, you have the ability to lessen the stigma by coming forward and talking about what you've dealt with. And you know, going back to what we were discussing in regard to Anthony Bourdain teaching people about culture, I mean, that's the reason why this has impacted me personally. I didn't know anything about Anthony Bourdain until about 2017. 2007. 2007. At that time, I was fresh out of college, had no interest in the world around me. And what I mean by that is I thought, LA is the best place in the world. Why would I want to go anywhere else? I hadn't traveled out of the country yet. And one of my good friends was about to go to Europe, and she invited me. I said, no. Why would I spend money to go anywhere else? I love it here. And at that time, I started watching Bourdain, and he sparked this curiosity in me. And just seeing him share other cultures and how beautiful the world around us really is. I mean, I was obsessed with his show. At that time, he hosted a show called No Reservations on the Travel Channel. And I remember calling my friend up and saying, I'm going to Europe with you. And that was the first time that I traveled, and I just started really taking in other cultures and appreciating them. I wanted to share a video of Anthony Bourdain. This is one of his more recent episodes on CNN. I'm Armenian, so naturally this was an episode that meant a lot to me personally. And so here is his recent trip to Armenia.
Genocide.
This isn't about revenge. This is about recognition.
War.
If we lose, we know that we will be destroyed, annihilated.
Earthquake.
I'm the generation who literally learned alphabet with a candlelight.
Armenia has endured a lot.
This isn't some geopolitical conflict on a map. Every family is touched.
Every day, 100 people leaves Armenia.
But it remains a place that millions of diaspora Armenians are very, very sentimental about.
I myself, I will never leave Armenia. I was born in Armenia and I will die in Armenia.
And I've been hearing it for years. When are you going to Armenia? When are you going to Armenia? When are you going to Armenia? Well, finally, I'm here.
So he will be missed, to say the least. Yeah.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.